You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
But I have a little concern with the Hopi stuff. The figures that you spoke of, the coyotes, like the Hopis had Coyote Clan, right? They had the Snake Clan, the Ant People, and all this, right? Like those were clans, right?
Right.
And the fellow that called earlier about seeing the dog in the that changed to a devil, well, the Hopis had, like their priests had a two-horned headdress, right? And they're, I believe that when they're doing their ceremonies and stuff, that they can do shape-shifting and stuff. So if during a ceremony somebody comes out as a dog to see this guy, there's something I got to say first. There's a Hopi image of a man holding a dog by the tail. Okay, that's somewhere in the Black Forest, and that's a symbol of a priest, a person's coming to help, but he comes in the form of a dog, right? And that's I'm just thinking that some of what you're saying might be getting mixed up with symbolism from the clans. Do you understand where I'm going with that?
No, I understand that. I'm not sure that he was speaking about anything related to clans, the Hopi clans. Am I wrong, George, or did I misunderstand that?
I think you're right, John.
Yeah, I know that there's Coyote clans, there's the Bear clan, there's the Snake clan, there's different clans. When the Hopis first came up from the underworld, they were led by a star to various locations, and each place the star stopped, they developed a clan, and that's where we have the Hopi mesas as they are today. The shape-shifting does occur on reservations, but usually a large part of it has to do with the person who's having the encounter themselves. Are they receptive to being able to see something like that? You know, we've heard many reports in which people have seen UFOs, but other eyewitnesses that could have been standing by didn't see anything yet. They were standing side by side with each other. So, and even the Virgin Mary sightings that occurred, the crowds could not necessarily see what the children were seeing. So a large part of shape-shifting could actually occur on a physical level, but at the same time, there's a personal level that's involved as well. Now, with him seeing something like that, I believe that there's probably a chance for him to be highly receptive to feeling and sensing the evil coming from that dog or its intentions at that point in time, to where he felt the demonic presence. There's something called eidetic memory, and children use this. It's actually, scientists call it eidetic memory, and it's actually where your visual field, your eyes, can have an overlaying like transparency, where you have another image being put there by your imagination. It's not having a hallucination or anything like that, but it's the way the optics are connected. It doesn't mean that it's false. It's not really there, but it means that something is causing a paranormal event to where that would occur. So when he was looking at the dog, he was actually himself involved in some sort of an energy exchange or a paranormal event at the time. So, you know, and I understand that certain animals will show themselves to individuals in order to get them on some sort of a quest of their own, or to give them a sign. In this case, the dog could have been a sign for him on a personal level, but I wouldn't know. I don't know how in his own life he would interpret that.
Okay, next up, let's go to Dallas, Texas. Hello, Keith. How are you?
Yes, pretty good. Thank you for taking the call. One quick funny thing. I couldn't help but notice that James Carville, he looks more like a reptilian than anybody else I can think of. Slightly. But on a more serious note,
I would agree with you. There are quite a few of them that do, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not saying anything nice about a reptoid.
Yeah, but on a more serious note, though, and I kind of thought about this question while I was holding, if that's okay if I can ask it. But I've heard another guest come on George Norrie's program by the name of Stephen Quayle talk about these things called giants. And, Quayle has talked about a supposed super secret military force of some kind that fights these things or tries to contain these things. It sounds to me like if there is such a level of the military that does deal with cryptological phenomenon such as giants, which is what Stephen Quayle was describing, phenomenon that you're describing. So do you see any intersection of these two phenomenon, giants on one hand and reptilian humanoids?
Well, the ancient
other?
texts, the ancient texts actually do refer to the angels that descended from heaven and took for themselves human wives and had men that were of great renown. And there were giants in the earth in those days. They refer to these men being very large human beings. If we're talking about something, reptilian humanoid, 6.5 to 7 feet tall, I sat down in Los Angeles during an interview with somebody, a well-known television personality that was a psychiatrist, and also a cantor from a synagogue, which is like a rabbi. And we were talking about, the reptilian humanoid aspect of Judaism. And he said, as a matter of fact, Goliath was more like a dragon. A lot of people don't know this. He was more like a dragon man than he was anything else. And I said, you're kidding me. And they go, no. The original texts actually talk about this man that was large. He didn't look like normal human beings. He looked like that of a snake, but a man. And he had a foul odor to him, a real stench. And I just sat there with my jaws open looking at this guy telling me the story because I had never thought of that in those terms before. But here we had it right out of the, a voice of authority in regards to the ancient text. But yes, that would mean that there would be a definite correlation between something, it would infer a correlation between large giants and reptilian humanoids. And as these beings are described by experiencers, they're definitely gigantic in stature compared to a normal person.
Okay, great. Thanks, John. Next up, let's go to Steve, first-time caller in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, George. It's great to hear from you.
Thank you. Good to have you
and Mr. Rhodes, pleasure to be able to talk to both of you. Well, both of you are very familiar with David Icke's books, apparently The Biggest Secret and Children of the Matrix, where he talks about, blood rituals of the royal family of England, sacrificial so that they can maintain their DNA so that they could look humanoid. And also the presidents of the U.S. have the same, they haven't been elected, but they've been selected because they have, English, they've been selected because of their English descent. Basically, my questions are, you brought something up earlier I thought was quite, it just dawned on me. The underground city, you said, was concentric circles. Now, if you read Timaeus, Plato's Timaeus, about the outline of Atlantis, the architecture, it sounds a lot like, the above city of what Atlantis used to be. And also, the whole thing with and with the Mayans, with their, snake worship and whatnot, and they always say that the Antichrist is going to come first, and I'm sitting here thinking December 21st, 2012, the Mayans, one caller had called on our previous show that maybe, the Mayans might be coming back, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, maybe that's what's going to happen, around December 21st, 2012. I'm just curious what your philosophy or, your thoughts on that, is. And, I mean, and if you ever watch the X-Files, this is all kind of like, too, with the reptilian being descendants of the dinosaurs. It's kind of like the X-Files, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, a lot of television and the media has been influenced by what they've been reading on the internet. These guys that come up with scripts and stories, they're out there and they're fishing in websites of researchers and UFO researchers and different individuals like that to see what they can skim from the surface and create scripts from. That's just that's just fodder out there for them. So the influence of the reptilian humanoid image in the media to some degree can be pointed back to even the Reptoid stuff research site. Even, what is it? Star Trek even had a television program, Origins, in which they talk about a reptilian humanoid race that was trying to make connections with the humans, saying that they were connected to them in some way in their ancestry. So A lot of that is a matter of media influence.